Yeah.
on my arm, if you guys can see it, it says "Love is a battlefield"
Oh
by
God, I
Pat
love that
Benatar.
song. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
was my first big piece on my arm, and it went with
Hmm.
my life because I always found that love was so challenging out because I always felt so much love, and every time I would always be a giver, even to my own family,
Hmm.
like parents, and it would just be shut down, like, oh, you're too much, stop, or da da. And that's a time frame. Like, I think I was like 13 years old when I started to shut down. I started to smoke weed. I started to drink without my family knowing, and then little by little, by the time I was 15, I was hanging out with, like, actual, like, affiliated gangsters, and then
Hmm.
I was getting caught up, and then I didn't like that scene because things like were happening. I almost got raped. All these things were going on, and I was like, oh, whoa. So I got out of that, and then I just started rebelling because I was just kind of just trying to figure out who am I? Why I resonate with certain things, but they're not me. Like, I haven't met anyone that's like me. Like, and so finally, going back to the present day, like hydrating myself and doing all this. I mean, I've researched about the brotherhood,
Water.
sisterhood, the druidery, everything good stuff, and I know everything. I'm listening. But now that I'm hydrated, I'm actually revisiting all these things that I had researched because now
Hmm.
it's making more sense. Because now that I
Right.
know who I am and I'm
Yeah.
finding more and more resonance, it makes sense on what my life is. So that's why now people are seeing me sharing my story, because now I feel confident to share about
Hmm.
my past, to share about my traumas, to share about my relationships that I had. And I send them all up because they were working for me, not against
Hmm.
me. But I got caught up and I allowed them to disempower me at times because I just wanted to be accepted and loved. But then I realized that was
Mm-mm-mm.
a deeper form of, like, a abandonment wound, and an emotional wound within myself that I needed to heal myself. And it's almost been 5 years. It'll be 5 years in April that I've been sober, and it'll be 5 years in June that I've been celibate. And I will continue to be sober. I have no desire to drink because it really brings out not a good side of me. But the celibacy, I mean, I believe in true love, and I feel like
Hmm.
my next partner will be that person. And
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm willing to just not say I'm waiting, but I'm willing to align with the right person versus, like
Yeah.
you said, I'm not hunting no more. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
figure out
Yeah.
who's who, and like every relationship was like a learning lesson for me. Like, I can write a book. All right, let's
Yeah,
start a
I mean that's what
relationship.
I was
Boom, boom,
saying.
boom.
It's like not a big. Don't feel sorry for Jacklyn that she's
No.
celibate because she had a good time when she was.
Oh, I had a
Ask
lot of
any
good times.
Ophiuchus. I,
My daughter's right here. She's like, ew.
okay. All or nothing. Well, that's what it is in the celibate. It's like from one extreme to the other, isn't it? But you know why? Because I've noticed that as well. Because the energy needed to do the inner work.
I
It's
feel
like
it.
loving yourself, what Jilly
Mm-hmm.
says, using your own waters to heal yourself, your Christ
Yes.
consciousness, like when people do that thing every month, right? Or you're doing it for 5 months because you're really going deep, like, saying like no, nothing superficial, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's doing the deep dive, doing the real work for herself. Then
Yeah.
it doesn't really align with the work. I've fallen into that trap, I will tell you. And
Yeah.
I noticed because I have to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
So when I choose to do my soul's journey, to do my path, and to be focused on something that is important to me, that is now part of what is needed in this paradigm,
Yeah.
healers and people waking up, then this is what we're doing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not what we're doing, because when we do the other thing, then that's what we're doing. We're usually giving our attention to someone else, to one person. We're here for you. Yeah, we're here for more than one person because we've got that much to give. This is the Sagittarius where our moon will be moving, or is. Yeah, looking at, I can like see the crescent moon is so beautiful, like right here.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
in Sagittarius, I know. But, it is not just a line to say, oh, it's the black hole. It is 43 billion times the heat of the more than the sun. So it is so hot, and it is really passionate. It is indestructible and needed at this time. This is the heart of the galactic center. And we're so blessed that you are not the average healer. I love
Thank you.
that title as well.
it's
That's a,
it's I get so what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I just want to say I'm very grateful.
Are you looking for my charger?
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
You get it?
Yes.
So I wanted to say is I'm very grateful that I'm able to have this awareness and understanding now because, you know, I just turned 38 on the 15th and it
Happy
actually
state
makes,
birthday.
thank you. It was the first, as silly as it sounds to a lot of people. I'm not saying I never had good birthdays or whatever, but this was the very first radiant, illuminating, genuine,
Wow.
hydrated birthday solar return that I've ever had, that I felt the flood of love. And I was able to actually hang out with like true, genuine sisters during my medicine circle that I hold twice a month. And just like everyone, I woke up to like text messages and I was like, whoa. And people were like posting stuff. And I was like, that's never happened. And so I was like so overwhelmed. I couldn't even get back to everyone's comments because I was just like enjoying the moment. And I was just like, wow, I'm being seen. And that
Yeah,
was the
that's beautiful.
scariest part, was coming out from the underworld and being ready, because every time I'd come out, I'm like a mermaid, you know, I'd be in the underworld in my cave, and I'm okay. This is my cave. I'm okay in my cave. And that's where my introverted self is. And then when my extroverted self wants to come out, pop her head up, I'm like, is it safe? Is it safe? And then I would go sit on a rock and then be like, oh, I'm here. And someone would come and I'd run back in the water. Because every time I pop myself up, all of a sudden people are like, oh, who's this? Oh, she's so beautiful. And then all of a sudden I start talking. They're like, and then they're like, I don't know. Like, I freak people out. And then I would just go back and hide. And so finally, I just had to keep doing inner work. I was getting triggered in traumas. And a lot of it was epigenetic inheritance, you know? And so when I started to finally rise this year and went to like the Wakewater retreat and with Chris and Jilly and everyone, started meeting my true soul family, met you, and got all these dots connecting to really fulfill what was going on in my life, I was like, oh no, I don't think the world's ready for me. All right, well, here I come. And I just came out, and I'm continuously coming out and embodying it. And I had to start all over. Like, it's like I burned my, literally, if you guys ever go on my page, you go down like a couple months, you'll see me. I actually had a burn party with all what I call my book of shadows.
Yeah.
Because I needed to get rid of that no longer served me. I kept a few of my journals that I needed to like put in my future books or whatever, knowledge. But for the most part, I got rid of everything with love. I even put like sage and crystal. I did everything that I was guided to do. Now I'm in my book of sovereignty, my book of divinity. And it's so beautiful. Like, now I can reflect back when I need to and pull knowledge, but that doesn't serve me anymore. And a lot of people trip out because they knew the old me, and even my family. Like, I still have issues with my father, you know, like, he doesn't accept me. He's never really fully accepted me. I've always tried to please him and like being a tomboy and doing things that would resonate with him. And I would do that with everybody, you know, like, oh, okay, it's fine. But now I'm like, that doesn't work for me. And people are like, you're so spiritual. You're so like, but you're kind of rude. I'm like, I'm not being rude. I love you, but I have boundaries, and I'm discerning. You're going to come at me with your own projections and your own fears because you're not doing the work. I love you, but I don't need to be around you because you don't love yourself. So it's affecting me. It's like, I can't have that around me. And that was.
But what were we talking when you started saging? When I saw you walking around saging.
Oh, the walk of saging
thing, yeah. And I just love that so much. And I could see in your sky that was like an element of air that was so integral to like really breaking the free and like stepping out in the power. Because the other thing about Ophiuchus, you know, it is like, and also Jacklyn has, what's beautiful is all four elements, because the Ophiuchus has Scorpio and Sagittarius, which is the water, the fire, and the Orion has the earth and the air. So here you have someone who has this abundance of all these energies, but in specific, like in one place, or two places basically, you know, Ophiuchus and Orion. And so this even makes it even more intense. And so when you are aware of the true energies in the sky, it helps to align you, because they've been within you since day one, but it hasn't really been expressed, that people, you know, haven't been able to align yourself with this energy because of, you know, how people react. And of course, love, you know, not being superficial, caring what people think, being empathic, and all these things, you know, kind of embodying all that for everybody, but not knowing where it is. But she never stopped. She was doing the water thing. She's doing the saging, and it was so beautiful. And I just sat one day when I said, just keep walking, Jacklyn, just keep walking. And with the sage, I said, get up in the morning, Sage, I just want to see you walking. And then she was just walking up to people, and to see the reaction of people holding their arm out, and it was so beautiful, and this is just, that just makes my heart sing so much.
Thank
Because she
you.
was just using, it's a matter of taking the fire, using your energy. It's when you're the alchemist, you don't always know exactly how things are going to end up at the end. But you will never know if you don't start, right?
Yeah.
And the fire to start and to try new things. And then as far as like unconditional love, like she was giving, she was going into places where people needed sages, Skid Row, just certain parks that I know, like, really giving. And you'll be amazed of how much that keeps the cycle going and gives back by just putting one foot in front of the other, doing the fire. So I'm just so touched by you.
Oh, thank you. And I could feel that in my head. Like your voice always like sends me into like the trance. I'm like, I just love Claudette. Like just keep talking. But as you're saying that, my neurotransmitters in my brain are like all excited. No, you have been such a huge support. I have to say, because you have been like, encouraging me and inspire me. And like every time I feel a thought, you would send me a message and be like, Jacklyn, we're in this house, we're in Scorpio, we're in this. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And I would realize that energy. And doing the walk of the sages, like I've always gone around and sage people. That's something I've always done. And this year I was told, okay, you got to make it a thing, And right now, it's hibernation time, so I'm like, oh, I'll return it next year. But it's like, it was going to Skid Row. I wanted to tell everyone in down LA, like everyone's scared of Skid Row because of all the, controversy of,
Amazing,
like, oh, there's dark energy. And you know what? There is dark and there's light, but there's a lot of actually genuine souls. I mean, I sage, I'm not joking, probably over 100 people that day. And I'm not saying individually like this, but there were groups or clusters. I was walking by and just saging. I only got yelled at 3 times, and I went with a group of guys that I love, Jeremy, Hugo, and Esteban, and they're amazing. And they really supported it, and we were divinely guided. We had angels watching over us. Like, our lighter ran out, and this guy came up with a torch flame and had light on it, and he was giving it to me. Oh my God! The timing was so immaculate that I was like, what just happened here? I was like, I was aware